there. We are now joined first by Mike Flannery on sets. And Mike, you've been receiving emails from senators, state senators as well, calling for impeachment.
Well, I have. State Senator Bill Brady, a Republican from Bloomington, has called for Rod Blagojevich to step down immediately. He says whether he is ultimately proven innocent or guilty, we know from recent history the time these judicial proceedings can take. Elected officials need to put the public interest ahead of their own personal interests. Blago's got to step down. Now, if he doesn't do that, much more significant because Republicans are in the minority down there, Democrats run the show. The governor's own state representative, John Fritchie, happens to be chairman of the Judiciary Committee in the Illinois House, and he has said this morning that he believes that impeachment proceedings will have to begin now. As I said, he's chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. He says everyone hoped it would not come down to this, but there really is no choice now after these disgusting, disgraceful, dare I say, nauseating charges. Now, it's also, it needs to be said that even though this involved Barack Obama and the seat that he had vacated after his election to the White House as president-elect, there is in these charges the following paragraph. And let's, if we have that, we can take a look at it. If not, I'll just go ahead and read it. There it is. The governor's arrested. And in these charges, the feds say, in a conversation with John Harris, the chief of staff, on November 11th, the charges state, Blagojevich said he knew that the president-elect wanted Senate candidate 1. That would apparently be Valerie Jarrett for the open seat. But, quote, they're not willing to give me anything except appreciation. Well, expletive them. You don't need a big imagination, a vivid imagination to imagine what that expletive was. And that certainly is a credit to President-elect Obama and to his people. I doubt that Blagojevich was talking to Obama. As Obama told me last year, it had been more than a year at that time since he had spoken to Blagojevich. And I got to say, whoever it was who was telling the governor, we're not going to make you the Secretary of HHS. We're not going to put you or your wife in a big job. We're not going to help to steer you into some crooked deal with one of the unions where you get some big job. If you want to appoint our candidate, thanks very much. If not, then forget about it. And you know, a few days later, Valerie Jarrett publicly said she was not interested in that Senate seat. And she is now going to be a senior advisor at the White House with an office in the West Wing.
Mike, we also have Irv Miller, our legal analyst, with us. And let me ask you quickly, Irv, how likely it is the governor will be detained today after the hearing?
Well, that'll be a decision that is initially made by the United States Attorney, Mr. Fitzgerald. It's up to him to go into the court, one of his assistants, and ask for detention if that's what he wants. If that does happen, the judge will continue the case for a couple days to have pretrial services basically inform the court and do a report about the governor to see whether or not he should be detained. The alternative is Mr. Fitzgerald could say, Judge, we're not seeking detentions, but we are seeking other conditions. Could be anything from house arrest, electronic monitoring, posting his house for, as far as collateral. And it could be just let him out right. But what you're going to see is a sight today where the governor may be walking down the hallway in an orange jumpsuit with handcuffs and leg irons on as he's brought into that magistrate this afternoon. And then the ultimate decision about where he goes at about 4 o'clock today will be made by Judge Nolan.
And you know, Irv, if these charges are true, he deserves it. He should be breaking rocks in the hot sun. He has defiled and befouled the process of appointing a U.S. senator to replace a man who's been elected president of the United States. This is the most nauseating and disgraceful allegation of public corruption I've ever seen in the 35 years I've been covering a lot of crooked politics here.
Irv, I have one more question. What is the difference between an indictment and what they filed today?
What they filed today is basically a charge. It's a complaint. It's signed by an FBI agent that says, this is what our evidence is, this is what we would like to present to a judge for the preliminary hearing or to a grand jury for eventual charges. This is not a formal charge. This is a complaint. The formal charge will be an indictment by the grand jury, which will take place within the next couple of weeks, where the grand jurors out at the federal building will hear the evidence and will formally decide what charges should take place. Right now, today, we have 2 charges. We could end up with dozens of charges in an indictment.
Okay.